own icon, the House Committee Chairman on Youth, my friend and brother, the Honorable Commissioner for Information. Let me stand on already established protocol. Youths of Bayelsa, good morning to all of you. My job here this morning was made easy for me by our own icon and the Honorable Commissioner for Information. I was thinking that when I climbed the podium, my job should be, thank you for coming. My job has been made 100% by my two people. But I still need to say some few things that our youth need to hear today. The Ministry of Youth Development came into existence in 2012. But then, at the point, it got sandwiched with that of employment generation. And at the point, it also got sandwiched with sports development. Then, after 3 months, it was removed clearly from sports development and stood on its own as a Ministry of Youth Development. And the vision of that ministry first is to have an empowered youth from 18 to 35 years. When I hear people say that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, I get very worried. Worried in the sense that if we are talking of the youths from the ages of 18 to 35 and they are still going to be leaders of tomorrow, then something is wrong with the system. Something is wrong with the system. Except maybe they are talking of our young youths in the primary and secondary schools. Because the position of the youths from 18 to 35 is now for them to take up leadership is now. And when I assumed office in that ministry in 2014, November 2014, I felt that we have a situation where we were on the other side, the wrong side. The orientation and mindset of our youths needs to be changed and checked. So I came up with a concept called, a 3-in-1 concept called positive reorientation, training, and engagement. These are the 3-in-1 instruments I've been using since I came on board to moderate and to manage the Ministry of Youth Development. The reason being that before we came on board, you all know the story. You wake up in the morning, corpses everywhere of our young, vibrant youths, literally around the street of Inagua because of court war all through the night. And the governor, in his wisdom, sent the second bill to the House, ensuring that cultism becomes illegal in the state. So we felt that there's the need for us to have that mindset change from where we met them to a brand new spot. Well, it wasn't easy equally, because when I assumed office, they thought it was business as usual. For every visitors you get, especially from the youth group, is either coming to tell you of situations at home, wife needs to go to the hospital, no food at home, no this, no that, no that. But I felt that if I continue that same style, we are likely still going to get it wrong. So what I did from every first callers that I got, from my youth angle, was to sit down with them. And of course, clearly, I was able to show them the budget for that year, for them to show me areas where they need to tap into collections of money today, tomorrow, and next tomorrow. And for them, I mentioned to them that if they need money for welfare, the best place for them to go is the Ministry of Budget to check if the request they are making is in the budget. And if the request is there, you go to Ministry of Finance to get your collection. Because I didn't want it to continue. I didn't want that same style to continue. But I can tell you clearly that we have been able to pass that stage now. Our youths are now getting more responsible, more independent, more hardworking, and very vibrant youths of Bayelsa currently because of the change of mindset. So after doing that, I felt that there is the need for us to also look at after the usual, reorientation, positive reorientation, there's a need to create a platform for them where they can start receiving training. So I felt the first thing to do was to quickly go to Abuja. December, I was already in Abuja. I got appointed 2014 November. By December, I was already in Abuja. And I had the opportunity in that advocacy mission to Abuja to talk to about 15 foreign embassies and missions. The reason being that, I tell you this clearly, we have a lot of floating funds in these missions. And if you do not apply to tap into it, surely you are not going to benefit from it. I did that in the period of, we did a period of 5 days, which I think a lot of persons said it wasn't possible. I wasn't meeting with just embassy staffs. I had one-on-one interaction with the ambassadors and consulars of such embassies. Let's have that established and clear. The first I met with was the High Commission of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, that of the Embassy of Denmark, yeah, you can see the High Commission of Pakistan, Embassy of Republic of Poland, that of Australia, Rwanda High Commission, the Embassy of Spain, Royal Norwegian Embassy, the Embassy of Sweden, Embassy of Japan, Embassy of Israel, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Kenya, and that of the Embassy of the United States of America. And all my discussions boiled on youth training. After that, I felt that there was also the need to also quickly talk to some foreign NGOs that are currently operating in Nigeria, and I had the opportunity to also visit JICA, called the Japan International Cooperation Agency. I had an interactive session with them. And it will shock you to know that the first person from the entire South to have gone to JICA to tap into their floating fund was the former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Peter Obi. I became the first commissioner, first government official to have gone to JICA to solicit for such help. And their African representative, interaction with me was in their website for close to about 3 weeks because of that breakthrough. But I'll tell you that after that, we encountered a small problem with JICA. The problem we encountered was the security challenge in the Niger Delta. I tell you, the year I paid that courtesy call to them, they had 50 million euro floating in their coffers to be spent for youth empowerment and women empowerment. But anytime you mention the Niger Delta, they are always scared of sending their personnel for such training and what have you. Then JICA was already doing something in Kaduna and Kano. But as I talked to you, because of the Boko Haram, they have also pulled out all their men and personnel from those northern states back to Abuja. And they gave me an option. The option they gave to me was for me to bring my youth to Abuja for them to train and empower. And when we did the cost of how much that will affect the state, we felt that that calculation too was a little bit weighty and heavy on us. Because if you are talking of about between 100 to 150 youths to be trained for a period of between 2 to 3 months, you start talking of accommodation, feeding, and transport fare from where they will be residing to the training centers and what have you. I also met with the Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment, and that of Tourism, Culture and National Orientation, and finally that of Federal Civil Service Commission. Also trying to find out the number of biasans that we have in their Federal Civil Service team. And luckily for us then, our own was the Director for Employment and Training then, now it's Ines Esedu, famous Esedu. When I came back, after I came back from Abuja, I felt that the next thing to do was to have one-on-one interaction with my youths and the youth-based organizations. So clearly, I started calling meetings between myself and community youth presidents who became our point men in each of the communities within Yenagoa and Bayelsa State. The first I had was that of Ogbea and its youth body, then Yenagoa and its youth body, the president of Yenagoa and its youth body, all in 2015. Then Kolokmo Bukmo and the president and its youth body, Sabama Youth, the president and its full body, Southern Ijoy, Kirimo, Brass, Nimbe. And after we finished meetings with the youth president, The first charge was on security because of their relevance in each of their communities. Because as youth, they hold you to the state to know when people that are not supposed to be in their communities come to their communities and decide to stay in their communities and cause havoc. Then also to give them a brand new mindset that they need to take back home. And after talking with most of them, I think they came out a little bit poor or went back richer with ideas. Then after that, we started meeting with other youth-based organizations such as the Grassroots Vanguard for HS Dixon, Oluwasiri Community Youth President, Tuasiga Youth President. Then after that, all those interactive meetings, while we are doing that, we're also drawing a blueprint on activities of the ministry for the next year. We asked them areas where they think our Bayelsa youth will be better after such training. So while we're talking, we're also documenting areas of trade that we need to give to our youths. So we did that. Then after that, we started a meeting with some other foreign and federal government agencies within Yenagoa that do have relationship with the youth ministry and what have you, such as the Road Safety Corps, Then eventually we also met with the Trained Divers Association of Bayelsa. We did that. I called for that meeting because of the Agay Deep Sea Port, the construction of the Agay Deep Sea Port. We felt that there's a need for us to know the number of divers we have in the state, so that once that port is completed, we'll know that we have the local manpower to be able to man our deep sea port. But let me tell you what shocked me after such meeting. In the entire Niger Delta, we have only six qualified divers. I'm not talking of those diving water snails and Oboku, no. I'm talking of qualified divers with INCA certificates. INCA certificate, just 6 of them. And only 2 we got from Bayelsa. So we felt that we have a challenge here, but also you won't blame them. For you to be able to train a diver and have him qualified and given certificate, you need between 2.5 to 3 million naira for one person. And the training will not be done anywhere other than in South Africa and what have you. So we had that. And after that, we also had meeting with the Bayelsa Youth Development Committee on security. Then we also met with the local government area SSAs. You are aware, Bayelsa State is the only state where we have 8 SSAs representing the governor at the local government areas. They are like my point men at the LGA level. So for any issues coming out from there, we hear from them before we now know what to do. So all these meetings we are holding, note please, we are changing the mindset of our youth from where we met them to a brand new spot, and that was my agenda. So after that, we also met with a job visionary leader, a job visionary movement. This meeting became handy because of the increase in the rate of cult-related activities and the use of hard drugs. So they were already doing something on ground before I came on board. Then I had to quickly call them for us to do some partnership arrangement. Then in 2015, quickly, we met with a consultant called Kamba Consultants. Kamba, happens to have a link with the Nigerian State Diaspora Organization, NIDO. And there was a training arrangement we did package with NIDO that would have taken 22 of our youth to Hamburg in Germany for a 1-month training program in solar energy. Let me tell you the good news. The counterpart arrangement to that training would have been giving our youth the opportunity to have their visa fee, for them to move to Lagos to procure their visa, and also a small stipend when they're about leaving the shores of Nigeria. Then Nigerians in diaspora organization they took the cost of the training, the flights from Nigeria, from Port Harcourt to Lagos, from Lagos to Germany and back. And they also took the full charge of training, residents there, and every other thing, including feeding for the 22 youths. But as we finished our own part of it, which His Excellency the Governor graciously gave his approval, and we also got the releases for us to go for the visa procurement. On getting there, the German embassy refused us visa. They refused because that was a heat where they had a lot of illegal migrants moving to Germany, including myself. The Honorable Commissioner got declined. My PAMSEC, who had more than 4 or 5 Schengen visas, also got declined. Then we started talking with our consultant one more time, and they asked us to reapply. that they have been able to sort out that little issue. We reapplied the second time, and they still declined us the second time. At that point, we felt that there is no need for us to further on that agreement anymore, so we left that program. Then also, we met with the new Bayelsa initiative, also bordering on the orientation and entrepreneurship, a Joy Youth Council, especially on security and how to talk to our youth and what have you. Then also the Commonwealth Youth Council, we met with them in 2015. You can see 2015 loaded with meetings, trying to prepare the ground for the next year. Then also we were lucky, we came into industrial, we met the Industrial Training Fund, ITF. But let me say this clearly, we have done some few programs with the Industrial Training Fund. The first program was initiated by the Pioneer Commissioner for Youth Development, Honorable Lapwebide Alamesia, who pioneered that ministry and ensured that Bayelsa got its quota of 1,000 youths to be trained in some clear areas. When I get to areas of training, I will take our time to mention that he did very well. But I took over from him before the program came to an end and before also the graduation ceremony of that program. We also met with the NANS, National Association of Nigerian Students. All these ones, we are trying to change the mindset of our youth. That's why I have to call for all these numerous meetings of recognized, legal, youth-based bodies. Peace Initiative for Change, we also met with them on peace building, on peace building. Technology Incubation Center, we also had a wonderful session with them, also on trying to train our youths and what have you. The mega service, integrated service, also on training. Then Access Bank, Zenith Bank, Unity Bank, and Diamond Bank. We felt that if we have our ministry's account in your bank, you must also help us in your social corporate responsibility. So we went to them for them to also assist us in training. But the brick wall we met there, especially with Unity Bank, I had to go to Port Harcourt to meet with their regional manager in Port Harcourt. And the question they usually do ask is, where is your state government account domicile? Now the banks are more interested in knowing where the state bank, where the state government keeps the accounts, than helping us collaborate to train our youths. So all the arrangement we did with them didn't work, just for them to come take our ministry small money, keep with them. Anytime we need money, we'll go and withdraw all of them. Also, the two bodies I have working directly with me as Commissioner for Youth, legally given to me by the Constitution establishing it, are the National Youth Council of Nigeria and the Nigerian Youth Parliament. And these are the two key youth bodies that I do have moderating the ministry and working very hard to ensure that we keep the youth the way they are currently. We also met with Anna Creation. Anna Creation is to help us in the entertainment industry, where we know most youths are doing very well currently. Okay, I also created time to be able to disseminate information properly. We met with the reporters of Nation, Sun, Punch, Vanguard, and Tribune, also to help them do effective partnership on information dissemination. Because when things are done and if it is not reported properly, it's as if things are not being carried out by the government. So we also wanted that to be done. Also, we first had a meeting with the Peace Corps of Nigeria. You know the situation with the Peace Corps of Nigeria currently. I stumbled into a document from another state where the governor was calling for his secretary to quickly do a memo for him to approve money for them to recruit their youths into the Peace Corps thing. So we also did some few monitoring and discovered that in the Northern Bloc, they were already recruiting. But when I came on board as Commissioner for Youth, we had barely less than 300 of our youths already involved in that scheme, the Peace Corps scheme. So I approached the governor and told him that if we wait for it to get the president assent before we start recruiting, we may get this one wrong one more time. If the Northerners have started recruiting, let us recruit and keep them waiting for when the president is going to give his assent to that bill. As I talk to you, we have been able to move the manpower of the Peace Corps from the less than 300 to over 3,800 of Bayelsa youths already enlisted in the Peace Corps program. As I talk to you, we have officers, 1,748 officers already, and we have 2,048 men of the Peace Corps. That bill is already waiting for Mr. President to put his signature. Let me tell you this, in some states they already have 6,000 of their youth enlisted already. The state government did provided the training fee for them, provided camping fee for them, and also provided them with food for them to be able to agree to go for such training. But our youth, in their own wisdom, embraced it after the state government did their small contribution to it for them to be able to be enlisted into the Peace Corps thing. Yes, it has come to what we have been doing as a ministry, which I said, first, positive reorientation, training and engagement. So I'm moving next to the training angle of it. The first, the one done by my own senior brother, the man that pioneered the Ministry of Youth Development, Honorable Lakwebide Alamesia, did first 1,000 with the Industrial Training Fund, SMEDAM, and Bank of Industries. It's a 4-man partnership deal. Bayelsa State Government, Bank of Industries, Industrial Training Fund, and SMEDAM. Each partner having his own contribution to this training. The job of Bank of Industries from that training would have been to establish them through grants after the 3 months training. And we did this training in 3 areas in our senatorial. We did in Sabama, we did in Yanagwa, and we also did in we are having centers in these 3, 1 each senatorial. But the program, after 3 members of this collaboration team did their own financial contribution, the Bank of Industry failed woefully to provide the grants for the youth to begin to establish areas where they've been trained. I've done 1, 2 memos to them before, calling on them to fulfill that, but up to now, no information seems to be coming from them. And we did train our youth in 3 trade areas: tiling, welding, fabrication, confectionaries, and event management. And it was a 3-month training for our youth. Then immediately after that, we also had the opportunity to mobilize 6 of our youths to Plateau State for training in barbing, hairdressing, agro-allied, chin-chin popping of chin-chin, and telecom device repairs and shoemaking, shoe bag making. And they were there for 2 weeks in the training program. The state government provided them with the resources for them to remain there for the 2 weeks training program. And that program became very successful. After then, we felt that the NYSC scheme is tied to the Ministry of Youth Development worldwide, and my ministry seems to be taking charge of that, to know what is happening there, to go there during orientation period, know our welfare, the welfare of our youth corps and what have you. We felt that there's a need for us to collaborate more. As Commissioner for Youth, we were able to train 40 of our youth corps members in different areas, especially in testing, counseling, HIV/AIDS counseling, and what have you. Then after then, we also sent drugs to the NYSC camp when we heard of malaria, typhoid fever, and some few other diseases. The ministry, without writing memo to the governor, provided some huge sum of money and gave to the NYSC for them to provide drugs for them in 2016. So we did that. Then also, we felt that the training is a continuous one, so there's the need for us not to stop till we'll get our youth from where we met them to a brand new spot. I had to quickly put together a training scheme, and this time we used our own, one of the best in the South-South, our own International Institute of Tourism and Hospitality. There is no state you will see such an institution in full function, in full operation. There is no state you will see it. So we felt the first thing to do is for us to patronize them, and we sent 150 of our youth, solely funded by the Bayelsa State Restoration Government. And this time, we did training in GSM repairs, catering, and catering subdivided into 3: drinks, dishes, and baking. Then also, you will notice that the training lasted for only 1 month. But we also wanted to have certificate to show after the training. So the regulatory body for the hospitality industry in Abuja, we had to call them to monitor the training from beginning to the end. And at the end of that full month training, they issued the 150 of our youth with certificates that can start them from grade level 04 to grade level 14. Well, the next thing we did as a ministry, because of the full support we also enjoyed from His Excellency the Governor and the Deputy Governor, was to come up with a new program which I conceived myself. I called it a Catch Them Young Through Skills Acquisition. Why this came into my mind is because of the rate of cultism and also social vices in our state. And we thought it was a tertiary institution based, syndrome. But now it has crippled into our secondary school and gradually finding its way into our primary schools. And we felt that was unacceptable. And we looked at it and discovered that the leisure period given to our young youths was also too much. So we felt that quickly let us do a program that we call Catch Them Young Through Skills Acquisition. And we did the pilot scheme in Federal Government Science Technical College in Tumbo, Sabama local government area. I tell you this, that we were able to put together 627 of our young youths, including academic and non-academic staff of that institution. So it's a situation where you see a student taking lecture and his teacher sitting next to him also taking the same lecture in skills. That program was a huge success, and we did training in GSM repairs, confectionaries, interior decoration, event planning, management, soap and air freshener manufacturing. And there was this gift we gave to His Excellency's guests in 2016 December. Air freshener, liquid air freshener, and liquid soap. The youths we trained were the one that did the manufacturing of those items, and we put them into wonderful takeaway baggages and gave to Excellency's guests in 2016 December. Our collaboration with ITF has always been sweet, and it has been wonderful from day one till date. We went into another collaboration, but this time around, it was 500 of our youths that we need to put together for this training. And in this training, we had 17 training centers within Yenagoa. Because we looked at the first training of the 1,000, we recorded some level of truancy because of some of them living in Yenagoa to go to Sakbaba on a daily basis. Some of them living in Yenagoa to go to Obuya on a daily basis, and they couldn't stay in their local government area. So we brought all the training centers, we domiciled them in Yenagoa, and also we were sure that it was spread around the Yenagoa metropolis, so that for any area you are staying, there's a training center not too far from you. So this time, we trained 500 in collaboration with ITF and SMEDAN. The bit of SMEDAN in all our collaborative training is to manage them after you have gotten skills. They need to teach you how you can set up your small businesses and be able to groom it from small to medium, from medium to large. So that's the idea of bringing SMEDAN in all our training. And this time, we trained about 500, and this time the trade areas are garment manufacturing or making, aluminum fabrication, poultry farming, GSM repairs, and snail farming. Then, after that, we felt that there was a need for us not to still stop. We started again to say, this time, His Excellency on his own called and said, he's not comfortable with the way people drive in Yenagoa. So let's train 100 of our youths in driving, professional driving. For some of you, you may not know that our driving academy is one of the best in this part of the country. I am not the one saying that. You can ask road safety will confirm this to you. You can call road safety, find out. We have the best driving academy in the entire South. So we took 100 of them and started training them through the Ministry of Youth Development in professional driving. And the good news is that we are almost done with that training. The reason being that the automation machine that we do have there can only take 24 in the city. Can only take 24 in the city, so we needed to put them in batches. The last batch is most likely to resume their training by next week. Then, another collaboration with ITF. You can see sweet collaboration with ITF. Yes, that's our driving institute. It's one of the best. We have 100 already, about 80 already trained. The last batch of 20 will resume training next week. Then after that, we also went into another round of training with ITF. This time, 300 youths. And we changed the trade areas from all the ones we've been doing before. Okay, so after that, we had the opportunity again to go on with all our collaboration, discussions, and putting together our youth together in one big, formidable force. We did another round of one-day training here in this center, the cultural center. That was in September 2017. We brought 3,000 of our youth from all the LGs, and we trained them this time in community empowerment, inform for change against illegal migration, community leadership and security. It was done there. It was a one-day full training session for our youths. And the day we had that, we also were privileged enough to have the ceremony beamed here. The ceremony that took place here got beamed here, and they showed it in Germany, Frankfurt in Germany. So everybody across the world, they were watching what was happening in Bayelsa. We needed to do that to make a statement that coming to Bayelsa and the Niger Delta is not going to the kidnappers' den. It's not going to an insecure environment. No, we needed to make that statement. And I want to thank my youths that converged that day for conducting themselves in a very wonderful way. But they didn't know that this thing was being beamed from here to Germany. And that singular responsibility exhibited by our youths gave birth to the next round of training that we are going to be doing from March. If you look at it, you'll discover that we have some lined up programs for 2018. First, we are talking of having an airport. I'm sure that most of us are already sleeping, not knowing that we still need local manpower to help us man that airport after completion. The runway is already done 100%, and we have also received the first test flight there owned by Bayelsa. So what we intend doing from the ministry angle is to have some of our youths trained in areas that are not too professional, but very necessary areas within the aviation sector. And we've completed arrangement with the Aviation Training College in Zaria and Aviation Training College in Ilorin. These are the two aviation colleges that we'll be using. Some of our youths will be opportune to be trained in Zaria, depending on the trade area, while some will go to Ilorin. Then the bulk of them will remain in Bayelsa here, and we'll have our instructors come and give them training here. Some of the areas we have in mind, I haven't talked to virtually all those in the aviation industry. One is traffic control, which goes as long as 45 weeks. And this will be done in Zaria, and 10 youths will benefit from this program. Navigation aid maintenance is for 45 weeks, and this will be done in Agua, and 10 youths will still benefit from this. Firefighting and rescue, 2 weeks, and this will be done in Agua, and 15 youths will benefit from this. Aerodromes, security, 3 weeks in Yanagwa, and 30 youths will benefit from this. Flight dispatch, 25 weeks in Ilorin, and 10 youths will benefit from this. Marshal and ramp attendants, 6 weeks, and this will be done in Ilorin, Aviation College in Ilorin. 20 youths will benefit from this. Radio phony operator, 8 weeks, and it will be done in Ilorin, and 10 youths will benefit from this. So if you put all the numbers I've mentioned, you discover that it will come to 105 youths that will be trained at the same time by two aviation colleges. Some will go to Ilorin, some will go to Zaria, while the others will remain here for training. If you ask me, I'm sure that the cost of having this youth trained, if I tell you the amount, you'll be shocked. Just like the deep sea port thing is quite expensive to have one youth trained in all these areas that I've mentioned. It goes as high as between 1.5 million to 2 million naira for one youth. Then I also have the rare privilege to have come to my state to visit me for the first time. The African Regional Director of UNITA. UNITA is United Nations Training and Research Agency. It's for training and for research. And I went into 2 levels of discussions with Dr. Larry Booms, who happens to be the regional African director. And the areas where we are thinking of helping our youth, first is in diving, because of the huge cost involved in that area. So we needed them to take that lead from us and train our youth in diving, drilling, automation, cable tray and pipe fitting, instrumentation, welding, building, safety, and quality maintenance officers. All these are quite skilled areas where our youth will also benefit in 2018. Then the second round that we also have already concluded with UNITA is that of, after your mandatory NYSC, what becomes of you? What becomes of the Bayelsa youth? And I entered into an agreement with him on behalf of the state for us to have a comprehensive data of all our youths after their mandatory NYSC scheme, for them to be taken by UNITA and deployed for United Nations volunteer scheme. So invariably when you finish your NYSC scheme, you come back. If we know you are back and we are able to get all your information, we send your name to them. Then if United Nations has any program, maybe Republic of Benin or any area, they need volunteers, we can now, from UNITA, they deploy you to them. You go abroad. It could be in Germany, it could be anywhere. You go there and stay and also get exposed. The idea is to have our youth get exposed the more. The moment you leave the shores of this country, your orientation will for sure change positively. So we also have that settled with UNITA. Then for the areas that I mentioned, all these areas that I've mentioned, the good news is that when you finish, you are not looking for a job. You are not looking for a job. UNITA's responsibility is to ensure that there is engagement for you before they deploy you to go and do the training. In 2018, Bayelsa Youth Entertainment Clinic. Somebody will ask, what is entertainment doing with clinic? Some minds need to be cured. Some minds need to be cured. And the best way to cure them, first, they see a lot of things, you know, like in the Nollywood world. They see a lot of things there. They watch videos, they watch TVs, and they think that for all those Nollywood stars, the roles they play, they are real roles. Some of them go do money ritual, the next day they are millionaires, spray money. They say, yeah, this kind of thing can work. My brother, it cannot work anywhere. What they are doing is role assigned to them. And so this time we are going to come in with some Nollywood stars, popular Nollywood stars. The first day will be a float from the Bogene to the Peace Park, where they will have the opportunity, our youth will have the opportunity to talk to them, to ask them questions. And they too will have the opportunity to also reply those questions and be able to attend to our youth. And once that is done, then our youth will know that all that you see that glitters is not gold. It's not gold. Then after that, we move them, we break them into different sectors and different groups for them to start choosing areas. They need to choose areas where they want to be trained. Some may want to dabble into acting, some may want to go into script writing, some may want film production, editing, advertisement, modeling, training in DJ, MC, and what have you. And these are areas where our youths are currently, you know, these are areas where our youth need to also get into and be able to make us proud. So we are also thinking of doing that. Then, we have a program that I did mention before that we are doing with the German government. This time we are using the African Tide Union, based in Germany. It's a German non-governmental organization that has the right to speak on behalf of African countries and be able to negotiate on behalf of such African countries for training and empowerment to be given to the youths. The destination of this program was not Bayelsa. Let me make it sound and clear. It wasn't, the destination was not Bayelsa. I won't call the name of the state that should have benefited from this for some reasons, but the program was already packaged for that state before. Cleverly, we used our wisdom to hijack it back to Bayelsa State. And we did that. We did that because of one of our own, a daughter of Membe that has been in Germany for 17 years. Dr. Rosalind Dressman. We used her within the African Tide Union to change the destination of that program to Yenagoa. The first benefit is here. And via that, I got invited by the German government to go to Germany on the 10th of December. And I was there for about 10 days. The good news is that I've entered into a well-packaged deal with the German government through the African Tide Union to train 100 youths in solar energy. Fully, 100% funded by the German government. 1 naira from Bayelsa State is not part of that training deal. Approval made, releases also made. But the money is not coming to Bayelsa State government. The money will be given to the African Tide Union, that is a foreign NGO, who will in turn bring the Germans that will come to the shores of Bayelsa and stay here for 15 months with us. 15 months. Germans will be here to train our youth in solar energy for 15 months. Then also, the second deal I entered into is that of smart houses. And I'm sure that most persons may just be lost the way I got lost before I got to Germany. Sorry, pardon me for that. I was lost when they told me of those smart houses. I said, waiting me that. But let me tell you the good news. A smart house is an independent building of its own that has no relationship with its neighbor. From electricity to water supply, from that to security, from security to anything that you need, you are independent on your own. And that is what I saw. And from one of the smart houses that I also saw with my eye in Germany, in Düsseldorf, sorry, pardon me, Düsseldorf in Germany. The house is giving electricity to the state. And the state is paying the owner of that house money for giving them electricity every month. The era of having our economy in the hands of the Togolese, the Cameroonians, the Ghanaians, when it comes to POP, it comes to tiling, it comes to plastering, is gradually getting over. My youth, be ready, and be ready. That round of training is also going to be for 15 months. 15 months. And Bayelsa State government will bring 32% into that funding. The German government will bring 68% into that funding. If you may give me the permission to break it down, the first one of the solar energy, the German government has already approved and released 900,000 euro. If you calculate that into our currency of today, it's 205 million naira. 405 million naira, that's the calculation. Then for these other smart houses, Bayelsa State government will bring 102 million. The German government will bring 268 or 278 million naira in that collaboration. I pray, my prayer day and night is that when the Germans come, let us beg our youths to leave them to train our youths. I am begging you people, I'm begging those people that are not here that may be hearing my voice. Let the Holy Ghost fire block their eyes from seeing those white men. It's a special prayer because if you kidnap one of them, that program will just come to an end. So that is the situation. So please help us disseminate this information. They should leave them when they come to teach us. Then. We, like I did mention, we have taken over 40 youths of the NYC scheme to help us usually in testing, in HIV, counseling, and all those stuff. Then, presently, in conclusion, so they have no other option than to begin to get independent on their own and start doing things on their own. The era of having a politician call you once after 4 years, the Commissioner for Information mentioned it. And that usually is one area that I'm not comfortable with. We are quick to call them once it is near election. We are quick to take their calls once it is near election. And immediately after election, oh Israel to your tent. I'm gradually getting fed up with that, and we need to change that style. But I tell you this, if our youth decide to on their own, take up the responsibility to get skills, and after getting skills, they start small on their own, they may not have the need for politicians to call them once after 4 years. Please, you must be independent on your own. And the best way to go is for you to take up skills. There's something that I think I also need to mention here before I eventually do my conclusion. We have a policy. Our educational policy is also faulty. Our educational policy is faulty. We came up with the concept of 6-3-3-4 system, educational system. That would have been a perfect educational system for us. But after conceiving it, to implement it is now becoming a problem. Let me tell you what I observed in Germany, my 10-day stay in Germany. I saw a situation where Chinese are sending their youth to come and learn in Germany. And these same Chinese students, they are already in the tertiary institution. Some of them are in the higher school, some of them in the tertiary institution, some of them about entering the secondary school and what have you. I met them taking training in skills. In Germany, if you are in the tertiary institution and your program is for 6 years, you do 4 years academic work, you do 2 years practical work. Practical work, you must do it. You break your academic study for some time, go back to the training ground, maybe in animal husbandry, automobile engineering, panel beating, GSM repairs, and what have you. And once, if we're able to do that, I'm sure that this white-collar job team will eventually force it down, because the jobs are not there to also give out. The white-collar jobs are not there to give out. So if we begin to train in skills after some period in the university, I'm sure that our youth will get better, they get bolder, and they get ready to take up leadership. As Commissioner for Youth Development, as overseeing Commissioner for Youth Development, in my time, we came best to Benue State in the entire federation, in all our trainings with ITF. ITF is here. I don't know if ITF stars are here. ITF stars, they are there. You can confirm from them. Benue came first. Bayelsa came first in a state of 36. And in 2016, when there was the opportunity for all the ministries of youth to converge in Abuja in December, our ministry was also there. And after listening to the permanent secretaries and the HOD for training, the Bayelsa State government came first in rating in 2016. The reason being that every ministry had the opportunity to tell the federal minister and his PAMSEC what they've been doing in the 2015 to 2016. And after listening to us with pictures to show, wonderful pictures to show, and also giving them the opportunity to also call to confirm, Bayelsa State government got rated as the best state in youth implementation policy. I just got another letter from the Federal Minister for Youth and Sports, who has also once more called for the permanent secretaries and the HODs to come to Abuja for them to do the assessment of the previous years. And I'm sure that with what we have packaged so far and the ones we have done, we are likely still going to come first. Mr. Chairman, sir, my colleague, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, I must tell you that we have a destination point for the youths, which is, we have not reached there yet. There's a promised land that we have packaged for our youth. We have not arrived in promised land. But we have done one thing clearly. The restoration government have also not left them where we met them. We have made a lot of progress to take them forward. But 2018 is better. It's going to be better for us because our budget in 2017 was a paltry 360 million in our budget. But in our budget in 2018 is 2 billion. 2 billion. And you know what 2 billion can translate into in terms of capacity and training. And I pray that the economy of this country and that of the state in extension takes a positive dive forward. And if that happens, and we are able to get all the needed approvals and get the releases, I'm sure that by the time the governor will be rounding up in 2020, the youth of Bayelsa will converge in the spot to say, you are the king of the youths. Thank you very much. But I need to still thank my House Committee Chairman on Youth, who has always been there for me, giving me all the support, pushing me even when I am tired and I'm a little bit reluctant. He's always there to encourage me. Mr. Chairman, House Committee on Youth, Honorable Ben Ololo, thank you for a job well done for me. Before I eventually take my seat, I want to also move to give a small blueprint, because you know I'm now the Commissioner for Labor, Employment and Productivity. I met with the governor after that appointment. He has charged me on what to do. So I'm set to fly. 1 week after my appointment, I met with the 3 key labor unions, that of NLC and that of TUC, and also met with the Nigerian Union of Teachers. The Teachers Union also met with them. NUT, I met with them. After discussing with them extensively on Wednesday, just about 2 days ago, I've also come into a conclusion that the era of having strike because national asked them to go on strike is over. It's over. The reason being that things that the labor needs to do, labor must do. And things that the government needs to do, the government has to do it. And I am ready. I have even offered myself to be that bridge between labor and the government. A brand new ministry, no office accommodation for now, but we are still trying to settle down and to get that one. But then we have been able to come up with some few things that I think you also need to know, so that when next you hear me talk in any of the radio stations is what we have done, what we have done, what we have done. I'm not too comfortable with what we will do. I'm not too comfortable with that. What we will do, I'm not too comfortable. So this time we have decided to put together, from my discussion with the labor union, the 3 labor unions, NUT, NLC, and TUC, we have decided to agree that there won't be strike in Bayelsa State anymore, in as much as we keep our different accords and arrangements. So that's that. Then also we are trying to quickly, from the issues we discussed, backlog of worker salaries, minimum wage of 18,000, teachers, head teachers impress, and in the last 2 months. You can see Bayelsa State government has been giving head teachers their impress since we came on board in 2012 till about 2 months ago. Please, can we give a round of applause for the government? Then also the fiscal verification exercise controversy, we are going to settle that. Employment of teachers, they are calling for more employment of teachers. We are also going to look into that. Tackling of payroll fraud, we are looking into that. Then conducting a promotion exercise, especially for the 2 categories, the primary schools and the secondary schools. Government will look into that. Then also the issue of annual leaves for annual increments. The government will look into that. But let me tell you what I also discovered. See, the governor knew he was going to reassign me to this ministry. I led the verification team that went to Ikirimo and Sakbama during the physical verification exercise. And things that I saw when I went on that tour, I think if we follow trend that way, there may not be any space for our youth to be employed. Let's be frank. I saw people older than my father still in the service. Still in service and still looking active in service, even though their body is telling them you are over 60. And for one of them, I told him, sir, your affidavit is showing me that you are just 43. It means that the commissioner for youth is older than you. The commissioner for youth is older than you. If I ask you, sir, to putu for me now, will you putu for me? See, of course, this is showing me that you are 43. I'm older than 43 by the grace of God. And he told me, he said, my son, listen to my son, I am not supposed to putu for you, but because of this exercise, I go putu for you. I told him, God forbid, sir, you will not putu for me, sir. That is how bad it is. I got to other schools, people are replacing their dead relations, their dead parents, and what have you, and see civil service employment has become hereditary, which we are also going to fight and we are going to stop. I got to some schools where we have more clerical staff than the teaching staffs. Some schools, 6 teachers, clerical staff, 14. And I asked the principal, these are 14 clerical staff, what are they writing for you? If you are the owner of this school, will you leave them here? She said, sir, I met them here, but I'm also not comfortable with that. Every day we go to the court, we swear to an affidavit for duty. After now, it becomes a punishable offense. We jail some of some people for that, because they are not giving our youth the opportunity to come into service. Then finally, for some, I went around and I discovered that some teachers have been teaching for over 14, 15 years and they are still carrying statement of results. Statement of result, and they go for promotional interview and they still promote them carrying statement of results. It's unacceptable, for God's sake. You can get statement of result in the next business center outside this hall. 15 years you are teaching, no certificate to show, just statement of result. For me, I told them that 3 months after that time, if they don't bring their statement of result, we'll push them out of service and employ new people. And that's one of the things I think I'll be battling with labor. I'll be battling with labor. In as much as government needs to pay you your salaries, you need to also do what is right for government to continuously pay your salaries. Let me tell you what I also saw not too long ago, because when you give me responsibility, I go the extra mile to also get results for myself. The Federal Civil Service, we have Federal Character Policy, and Bayelsa State Government is changed from that Federal Character Policy. And we must ask why. A state in the east has 3,579 workers. Another state in the south has 4,000. Oh, are they showing it? No, okay. Has 4,416 workers in the Federal Civil Service. Another state in Delta, should I call the names of the state? Yes. Let me call. The first state is Abia State. Abia State has 3,579 workforce given from the state to the federal. Akwa Ibom has 4,416. Bayelsa has 957. And let me tell you how we got to this 957. It was far less than this. It was the short period we had our president come from here that we were able to hit this figure. If not, it was between 200 and something before this time. Cross River State has 2,681 federal civil servants from their state. Delta has 4,419. Ekiti State has 2,613. River State has 1,675. Jigawa State, they have 675. Federal Capital Territory has 533. Kebbi State has 875. Sokoto has 732. Then lastly, Yobe State has 744. The total number of stars we have in the Federal Civil Service now is about 89,511. Bayelsa said it's yes to make the first 1,000. We must ask questions and we must not accept that. I've listened to the governor clearly. It's a battle that I must fight on behalf of my state. But for me, you can go to bed. The right thing for my state has to come to my state. God bless all of you in Jesus' mighty name.